Hey Huntsville, this is Tina Clark with Capstone Realty, and thanks for joining us today on this chilly morning. Today I'm here with Leanna Clark, no relation.
Yes.
Leanna is with Movement Mortgage, and today we're going to answer all of your questions about home loans, how to get a mortgage, what to do, what not to do, and then hopefully when you're done, you will feel like a mortgage pro. Thanks
Exactly.
for taking some time to join us today, Leanna. How are you?
Of course. Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So how long have you been a mortgage lender?
Yeah, so I have been licensed since fall of 2017. And so now I am licensed in the state of Alabama and Tennessee. So serving both of those states.
Oh, that's great. That's great because I know a lot of people don't want to go just over that state line to find the
Exactly. Yep,
perfect place,
it
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think made you want to become a lender besides the money? What was it that
Yeah.
drew you
So
to
for
that career?
me, I had family in the business, so I interned while I was in college. I think it's an industry a lot of young people don't know about, especially the mortgage side of it. So I kind of got a sneak peek doing that, and then once I kind of started that, I realized it's a really special conversation that you have with someone when you basically tell them that they'll be able to buy a home when they didn't realize that would ever be a reality for them. So that's definitely probably my favorite part of it is being part of that conversation and kind of making that, dream a reality for people.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people out there that don't think that that's a possibility for them.
Right. That must be really fun too, just to say, hey, you don't have to rent anymore. You get to buy a home now
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
pay.
Own your own home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I work with Leanna a lot. I met you a few months back and we did
Mhm.
one home loan together and I just loved it working. I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is when somebody comes with their own lender and I try to, email, call, text them and say, what's going on with this loan? What's been done? What's not been done? Leanna,
Mhm.
you have a really great procedure where you will email me and it's like a checklist and you'll say, you have another check on your list. We got the appraisal ordered or we got the termite inspection back. So I never have to ask a question, but when I
Mhm.
do, my husband goes, are you really texting her on a Saturday at 6 o'clock? I'm like, I just need to know this answer. And
Yeah.
you're so responsive. So what do you think makes you a great lender? Like, why would somebody use you over someone else in the
Yeah,
area?
so I think the most important or one of the most important things in our industry is communication. Things are changing so much, especially with the pandemic and everything that just changes naturally, regarding regulations, everything like that. So I think it's really important to keep all parties on the same page throughout the transaction, because no transaction's going to be like the last. Things are going to go smooth, or there could be some bumps, whether it's any party in the transaction, something's kind of held up or could have an issue, whatever it may be. So I think communicating that and setting proper expectations is really what helps the process flow smoothly, making sure everybody knows what's going on. If it's, going good, if we see a potential for a delay, let that know up front. That way, if that delay doesn't happen, it's a good thing. If it does, everybody
Yes.
know about it.
Mhm.
So I definitely think that's, what I focus on is making sure, it's a great experience for everyone. And by doing that, through communication and making sure, my clients are the top priority and their interest in that process.
Right. Yeah, that's great because that's what that, some people are so nervous about the whole process of buying a home.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody that tells you this could happen, it might not, at least they know,
Yeah.
that
They're
they're not like,
prepared for it.
oh, I never knew that
Yeah.
was going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
So one of the questions I get a lot from my buyers is when is a good time for them to shop rates? So once they go, and some people think that once they talk to one lender and they get pre-approved, that's it. They shouldn't,
Yeah.
talk to anybody else. They're worried about a hit on their credit report. So what do you think? Like, what is your best advice for somebody doing that? And how really does that affect their credit report?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always recommend shopping with anything, whether it's, your mortgage, your car, a sweater, whatever it is, you want to see
Mhm.
what else is out there. So you are supposed to have what's called like a 30-day shopping window. So where you can have your credit pulled by, your bank and then a mortgage company, whatever it may be. And it's only supposed to count as one hard hit on your credit because they see that, what you're doing is the mortgage shopping. I wouldn't recommend going to every company in town. You don't want to have your credit pulled more than it needs to be. But I definitely always recommend that people shop around. You're able to see, of course, what rates other people's offer. You'll be able to see the lender fees that may vary between companies. You'll be able to see sometimes a company could have a loan product that could be really good for you that the one previous didn't. So it kind of helps you make sure you know all of your options. And then same thing with, how I talked about earlier, communication. You're also able to see the person that you're working with. In reality, rates and fees and everything shouldn't be that huge of a difference between companies, but you're able to see the person that you're working with. Are they going to hold your hand if you need it and walk you through every document you look at, every question you have? Are they going to reply to your text at 8:00 at night if you need that question answered? So I always recommend looking at that aspect as well. Who do you want to work with after closing when you have questions about a tax bill that comes up, whatever it may be, just making sure that that person overall is who you want to work with, because this is probably the biggest purchase people make in their lives. Like, it's a big deal, so you want to make sure you're being well taken care of, for sure.
Right. Yep. So, and then another question a lot of people are asking me now, I hope you answer this the right way. If in this market right now, it's so crazy with multiple offers, no appraisal, no inspection, nothing, just give me the house. I don't care what I have to pay for it. Do you think that in a year from now, these people are going to be in trouble because they paid so much over asking price? Or do you see the prices just going up in that matter?
So we're definitely not predicting that value is really going to become an issue where, people pay too much, especially in our area. We have so many people moving here. So it's not a huge amount of people just moving around. We have so many people coming to the area that demand is not predicted to go down. Therefore, we shouldn't have that issue with value. I think that, I don't think we're not really predicted to continue crazy skyrocketing, like they have been. I think we've seen them kind of settle down a little bit.
Yes.
As we've gotten, further into the year. So I think that trend's going to continue, but I don't think demand, is going to die down at all. I still think, it's a good time to buy, because like I said, people have to have houses. It's not like they're just moving just to do it. They need somewhere to live. So I don't think that part's going to change.
Right. And then another question is, if somebody's going into a multiple offer situation, is there anything they can do mortgage-wise to make themselves look stronger? And is there a difference in an offer if the seller's looking at whether they have a VA loan, a conventional, an FHA? What are you seeing people prefer? What kind of loan would they prefer? And how can they go in just as strong as possible?
So I know we've seen some people mention in their listing, they only want cash or a conventional loan. I don't think that it should matter what type of financing you have, to be qualified to be able to buy that home. I don't think it should make a difference. I think everybody should get the home that they want. But I think the background behind that is typically due to appraisal items, and that depends on the condition of the home. So sometimes VA and FHA have the reputation of potentially requiring more repairs on the home, and a seller doesn't want to have to deal with that. It really depends on the quality of the home and what its current state is. That's not always going to be an issue, depending on the actual home. There may be no repairs anybody's going to notate, but I think that's something that people just started listing, I guess, to make it easier on their side. I'm not 100% sure. As far as making yourself feel, look strong with your offer, I would say having a strong pre-approval letter with a good lender. You want to make sure that, for myself, as an example, I'm not going to issue a pre-approval letter on someone unless I know, they're going to make it to the closing table. I've really vetted them. I feel strong about them. Of course, crazy stuff can come up during the loan process that could cause an issue, but, we're really vetting them up front. That way, when that letter is sent, I'm always willing, if needed, to call the listing agent and, let them know, hey, my client's putting in an offer, I'll send you my pre-approval letter personally, and really kind of explain how I vetted them. I review their documents, their credit's strong, that kind of thing. Of course, not giving away any, personal details, just showing that, they've been properly vetted and, are pre-approved to buy that home. I think it's something that can help.
Okay, good. And then do you have any programs for a first-time buyer?
Yes. So First of all, a first-time home buyer is someone who has not owned a home in the last 3 years. So sometimes, that's a little confusing. So you can be considered a first-time home buyer even if you've owned a home in the past. So we have multiple different programs that are good for different types of first-time home buyers. So for example, a conventional loan typically is going to require 5% down. For a first-time home buyer, that's going to be 3%. And then an FHA loan is a really good first-time homebuyer product. That one we can go the lowest on credit score, and we kind of have the highest wiggle room on debt-to-income ratio. So for people that may have, fresh out of college, a lot of student loans, that kind of thing, that can be a great program to get them into a house. And then, of course, our 100% loan options are great for first-time homebuyers as well to get into a home with, less money out of pocket than, a conventional or an FHA loan. So there's a lot of, really good options.
Okay, good. That sounds good. I didn't know about those.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so most of the time, I guess what we've heard in like years earlier is that everybody has to have at least 20% down on a home loan.
Mm-hmm.
From what you just said, I gather that's not the case. And so really people can come in with 0 down if they meet the right criteria.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's definitely, I think, the number one misconception people have. And, putting 20% down is great. That's going to help get your payment lower. And then for conventional loans, it reduces or eliminates the private mortgage insurance that's paid monthly. So that's why I think that comes up a lot because of the advantages of it, but it's definitely not necessary. And, for some people, they may only be in the home a couple of years, so it doesn't make sense for them to, put that much money down into it. So yeah, there's so many options to get in with, a lot less money out of pocket than that.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So if somebody, let's say somebody comes to you, and I know this is a very embarrassing subject for some, but a lot of people will, call me and they're looking to rent. And they'll say, I can pass a background check. I've been at my job for a really long time. I have a lot of money to put down. And I go, why would you rent then? Why do you want to waste your money on a rental? Well, I had some credit issues in the past and I just don't really know how to fix that. Is that somebody that you would speak to and kind of give them a little path of recovery? Or would you just say, oh, you need to call a credit repair company? How would that work if somebody called you with that issue?
Yeah, so it's different for everyone's situation. So someone comes to me, I pull their credit, see what range it's in. I'm never just going to be like, no, you can't buy a house. Like, sorry, on to the next person. It's always going to be not right now, but here's what we have to do. So I'll always, review their credit report with them. Sometimes people have stuff on their reports they don't know about. So that's a great way to really get themselves familiar with what's all on there. I will try to advise on anything that I see that's going to boost their score. A big thing I see is dealing with revolving and credit card debt. A lot of people will try to keep their limit low on a card and then don't realize that by charging up to that limit, they're really, really pulling their score down. I've had people where we pay their card down to like, $10, $9, that kind of thing. And it can, really boost their score and then was able to get them to be able to qualify and buy a home. So yeah, I'm definitely always willing to, work with someone and kind of get them on the path and the timeline to get it there. Same with building credit. Some people may not have any scores at all. So that's definitely another path that we can get them on to, get them in the right position. And then I do have credit repair specialists that I'm able to refer them to help them with, disputing items, getting, collections removed, kind of, deeper items that may take, a timeline. It could be someone that, we could get them there in 60 days. It could take a year, it really depends. But we have different resources to, filter whatever their needs are.
Okay, great. And so if a person decides that they want to start looking at a home and kind of be ready, like the one that is the organizational person, they want to start getting some of their items together that you might ask for. Can you give me a few things that, have this piled together when you go to the lender, and this will be so much easier on them and on you? What items should they start to gather together for you?
So the basics I always recommend is most recent 30 days of pay stubs, most recent 60 days of bank statements, your photo ID, and then the last 2 years of tax documents. So W-2s or 1099s, and then tax returns. Obviously, depending on your specific situation, there'll be more or less of that needed, but that's kind of, the general basics. And if you have those on hand, we'll at least be able to do, the initial review of that.
Okay, great. And so in your profession, this is just a kind of a personal question. When you go out to a party or some kind of event, are you just always on call? Are you constantly bombarded with questions? Are people going, oh, Leanna's here, I got to ask her about that mortgage rate and what's going to happen? Is this just your life? Are you just consumed with mortgage information?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes, it's always on the mind and on other people's mind, especially in our industry with how crazy it's gotten. You know, things are moving so fast. I feel like I'm always prepared to be able to get somebody in a home if needed, you know, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's always a topic comes up, which I'm happy to discuss it. So it's good.
Right. And then I have one last question for you. What do you think is the biggest fear of a mortgage writer, of a home lender?
As far our biggest fear,
Yes.
let's see. I mean, I'm not really sure. You know, I don't know that we're, you know, not looking forward to. I think we always, you know, have a plan of what we're doing. And obviously, I think, you know, I'm always trying to find a solution for all of my clients. So I would say that's a fear, is not finding a solution for someone, you know, whatever it may be. But, you know, that's always in my mind, is trying to find some type of solution, making sure everybody's, you know, able to do what they want to do and get them, you know, in the home that they want to get in.
Oh, that's not the correct answer I was looking for. The biggest fear actually the biggest fear in your business is dying alone.
Right. I didn't say that.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Leanna. Do you want to just give us your contact information, and then I'll put it on the screen also in case anybody wants to call you or contact you about getting a loan?
Yeah, if you guys have any specific questions, you know, you can reach me by call or text on my cell phone, which is 256-694-7750. And then my email is Leanna, which is Leanna.Clark@movement.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks for taking the time to tell us all this information. This was really educational and super helpful for anybody, even for me in my profession, for anybody going into a home loan. We always have a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's Tina Clark signing out. I'll see you around Huntsville.